Breaking news. They want to pass, man. Ready to hear that pass pop a little bit.
I like making some noise today.
Time to hit somebody.
Get this thing clacking, man. Let's go. Your discretion. It might get a little noisy today.
Hey, man.
Feel like home right now.
All right, let's go, man. First day of pass, man. You already know what it is. No words needed. Let's go. Fly around, have fun. Let's go. Gang on me. Gang on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Buzz! Hey! That's it. Keep 2 hands on him. Hey! Yeah, that's it. Good thud right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah.
Up we go! Up we go! Go! That's it, George!
When I'm the running back, you know where you're going. Beat the block.
Good.
Where we at?
Go. Left. Right. Straight. Left. Put it on tape that you understand what we're saying. Please back up.
Back up. Have your mindset right. Y'all are working hard, but we could always work harder. Bro, you got nowhere else to be, no other responsibilities, bro. You're out here playing NFL football. Don't forget that, bro. Have confidence and fly around and trust your work, man. Keep playing, keep getting better. Let's go. Gang on me, gang on 3. 1, 2, 3. Gang!
Welcome into Raiders Training Camp Special. Good to be back with you, Amber Theoharis, along with Eric Allen. And as the boys just said, they are hitting, they're back in pads, the first full week of pads. And that's what football is about. Do you remember those days?
Yes, I do. And again, the pads are really for that second level guys, the linebackers. Now they can kind of put some elbows and put some pads on the receivers who are running across the middle. So I know they're excited. And of course, Max Crosby is always excited to be able to get after somebody.
I've seen him. I hear he's been leading the huddles everywhere.
Yes.
He is the team leader on this team. But you know who else is a team leader on this team? Davante Adams. And that's somebody we're going to be talking about coming up on this show. He had over 1,500 receiving yards. What will he do in year 2? We're
Best in the game.
Davante Adams. And he's taking his game to a new level. We're going to tell you what he's doing. Also, who's going to keep those safeties from rolling over and double teaming him? Receiver depth. We're going to take a look at who is behind Davante Adams and how they can affect the success he has. Also, we're looking forward to catching up with GM Dave Ziegler. We're going to ask him, of course, about the Josh Jacobs situation. And look, Saquon Barkley got a deal over there with the Giants by being creative. And we're going to ask him if maybe they'll be creative here with the Raiders. So looking forward to talking to him in just a bit. But first, Davante Adams, as we said, taking his game to a different level. We all know what he can do. We saw him with the Packers for years. And his first year with the Raiders, he has over 1,500 receiving yards. Shows that he doesn't need Aaron Rodgers to be successful. Now he has Jimmy G. But it was the deep threat. That was something we didn't see with the Packers, that he came here and showed a whole new level of his game.
Amber, I loved it because it just showed you he's the best guy in the game, right? When you can be versatile and try and change your game in the middle of what's going on as an all-pro, has done everything. We thought he was this terrific route runner, which he is, the middle of the football field just chewing guys up. And then he comes to the Raiders and is asked to be the deep threat in certain situations. And look at this. The first person you think about when we talk about deep balls is Tyreek Hill, right?
Yeah.
He blew Tyreek Hill away. 9 touchdowns right now last year, passed over 20 yards. That is a whole different level to this guy. That's like asking Jerry Rice in the middle of his Hall of Fame career to change and become Randy Moss. That's what Davante Adams basically did.
It's showing that he can do anything,
he can do anything. He's the best guy in the league.
And I'm with you. If you would have asked me who led the league in 20-plus yard receiving touchdowns, I might have said Tyler Lockett. I might have said Tyreek Hill. But it is Davante Adams. And now enter Jimmy G. And they're getting started with their relationship. They've only been on the field 7 practices together. Well, Jimmy had 1 off, so it's only been 6 practices together. But getting that rhythm, getting that timing. And we were taking a look at some of the passing maps of Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy, what he does so well, years where he went to the Super Bowl, years where he went to the NFC Championship, he really lives in that intermediate game, right? So that's kind of what Davante does too, though.
Man,
so this is a match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven, and really with the offensive situation and system that's going to be put in, it's going to be perfect for these two because we know Jimmy G lives in the middle of the football field, those intermediate throws, and that's where Davante Adams usually makes his bread. So it's going to be a great situation. And this is what's important right here, right? It's not so much being on the football field. It's in between plays, in the film room, trying to figure out, okay, where do you feel comfortable with me in the second part of this route where I'm kind of drifting left? What are you going to do? Well, okay, if you drift left and I have leverage on the cornerback, I'm going to find a way to route him up and then drift left too. So those are the conversations that are going on in between practice, in between meetings, that are going to make these two make seamless and make magic together. So those are important issues of practice and after practice.
And that intermediate game, that's Josh McDaniel's system, right?
Yes.
We see so much success with him with the Patriots.
Right.
Now we know he'll see that with Davante Adams. All right, when we come back, we're taking a look at who is behind Davante. 2, 3, 4, the receiving competition coming up next. Raiders Training Camp Special is brought to you by SiriusXM. Subscribe to SiriusXM and hear every Raiders game, plus 24/7 NFL news, talk, and expert analysis on SiriusXM NFL Radio. Start listening at SiriusXM.com/Raiders23. Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. Welcome back to Raiders Training Camp Special. We spend so much time focusing on Davante Adams. A big question is, who is going to be the number 2 receiver or the number 3 receiver that if you're a safety, if you're a defensive back, you're going to have to say, well, wait a minute, if I lean over towards Davante, maybe I don't want to leave this guy one-on-one on the outside. And right now, it looks like that number 2 guy is Jakobi Meyers, who they get in the offseason. Somebody they knew very well from the infamous play against the Patriots. Chandler Jones seems to remind Jakobi Meyers of that. But look, big things expected of a guy that seems to be a Swiss Army knife in this offense.
Yeah, for sure. This is our strongest position group on the football team. Have 2 Pro Bowlers. And then Jakobi Meyers, reliable player, a true hands catcher, is not going to drop the football, an outstanding route runner, smart football player. All those things we know of New England, right, in their mindset, competitive, smart, knows where to play, know where to be, understanding situations. All those things are going to really benefit this young man, because times when Davante is double teamed, he's going to have to beat that number 2 or number 1 corner one-on-one on the backside to give himself opportunities. Had 6 touchdowns last year. I expect those numbers to go up this year, because he's going to be focused when these guys are double teaming Davante and trying to take him out the football game. And that allows also Hunter Renfrow maybe to get back into form. But I really love the way that this 3 receivers are set up right now on our football team.
Yeah, Jakobi had 804 receiving yards and a pretty anemic Patriots offense with Mac Jones struggling through most of the year. So that'd be neat to have another 1,000-yard receiver right here in Las Vegas. But we talked about Josh McDaniel's system, and where he's always had success is from the inside out, with the tight ends, with the Gronks, with the Wes Welkers and the Amendolas and all of the slot receivers, right? So we have Hunter Renfrow, but then also Trey Tucker, the rookie, who both kind of do the same thing as far as slot guys. What do you expect them to add to this offense?
Well, when you hear Dave talk, he talks about competition, and in that room, there's tremendous competition to push and try and get some playing time. Try and carve out, kind of your style of play. Try and carve out a spot for yourself. And I tell you, Hunter Renfrow, one of the best inside guys. But Trey also is one of those guys who's going to give you some speed, give you some electric route running, do some things in that slot that can really provide opportunities for Jimmy G to get the ball out quickly and get things going.
You've been in those competitions. You've seen as a cornerback, you've gone up against these receivers. What stands out at this point to these coaches? What are they looking for?
Well, Amber, knowing that you have 3 guys who are going to, basically take up most of your snaps. And Davante is one of the best receivers in the National Football League. Hunter Renfrow, a Pro Bowler, trying to get back into form. Jakobi Meyers, reliable guy who can catch the football. Now, that next guy who's going to be able to get on the football field, he's going to have to provide something for you that those other 3 don't normally do. And that's that spark. That's an explosiveness, ability maybe to do something on special teams also. But I think the next receiver coming off has to provide a spark, has just some energy, maybe a red zone guy that you can't cover because he's just so quick and fast, or maybe a 20, backed up 20, and he can run by guys and open up the offense for you. So that kind of person is really going to develop and find a spot for himself on this football field if he can provide that spark, that explosiveness that we're going to need at times.
Yeah, really looking forward to this rookie class, Trey Tucker being one of them. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is the GM year 2 for Dave Ziegler here in Las Vegas. We're going to talk to him about Max Crosby welcoming another rookie to the NFL and Josh Jacobs. That's next. Welcome back to Raiders Training Camp Special, and look who is joining the set. It is, in his second year, GM of the Raiders, Dave Ziegler. And Dave, it is your second year, so it's a little bit different than the first one.
Yes.
It probably seemed like a fire drill. We've heard so much about the plan. You and Josh McDaniels coming together. There's a plan. Where are you in that plan now going into this season?
Yeah, I think we've made a lot of progress here in the last year in our plan. And one of the focuses of the plan was just to find as many players that we can that fit what we believe is, important to winning football games. Being smart, both mentally and physically, having a tough football team, again, physical toughness, having a mature football team that really loves the process of becoming a football player and becoming a good football team, and people that are invested in that. And I think we've made a lot of changes in the roster over the last year, and I really feel like we've made started to lay some really good foundational pieces for guys that fit that, and we're excited about that.
A big part of the offense here, we all know it last year, was Josh Jacobs, and he's not here. We know the contract situation. There is no contract as of now. How much did what happened in New York with Saquon Barkley and kind of the creativity there to get him in camp and add a little something to that one-year deal, how much does that open the door for a similar possibility with Josh?
Yeah, we're hopeful it could open a door in that way. The contract stuff, those are really tough situations because, as much as it's about business, there's a personal element that gets involved. And, at the end of the day in that situation, we weren't able to find enough common ground before that deadline that the league puts in place. And we're hopeful that, Josh had one of his best seasons in his career in Josh McDaniels' offense. Yeah. So what I would love to see, I think what we'd love to see is for Josh to have another great year in this offense that he was really productive in, and hope to find some more common ground once we're able to do that, which isn't until the end of this current season. And so that's what we're hopeful for. And if there's another creative way to maybe bridge a gap in the meantime, we're keeping all options open. We're never going to close the door on something like that.
Yeah, we know Josh is a great guy, wants to be here, and hopefully we can get him here. But and speaking about young guys, Tyree Wilson, who just an incredible young man, had a chance to talk with him after he was drafted. But him not playing, how do you evaluate him and figure out how he's going to fit in this puzzle of the Raiders? Yeah,
it's a big question mark in terms of how it all is going to fit together. What we're able to evaluate right now is, he's on a rehab plan and program to continue to come back from the foot injury. So we've been able to evaluate just his approach, his professionalism, his maturity, how he is in the classroom, and we've been able to grow him in some of those areas too, as all rookies need to grow in those areas. So he's made a lot of progress in those different areas that don't come on the field, which I think has been a good thing for him to be able to focus on that. And he's continuing to make progress. We'll be excited to see him when he's out there and see how he can impact the defense.
Yeah, he's so long, man.
He is long.
Impressive guy to look at.
Speaking of another long, tall guy, you guys have a heck of a rookie class. Your second-round pick in Michael Mayer, and seeing him out there going one-on-one with Max Crosby. Max was like, "Hey, I just want to introduce you to the NFL. This is what you'll be facing." How much of those one-on-one matchups, you talked about building mental toughness earlier in this interview, how much of that is intentional to toughen him up and get him ready?
Yeah, there is some intentionality to it. I mean, you're going to face those types of players. I mean, Max is a special player, but you're going to face top-tier talent every week in the NFL, and it's a big jump for any college player, no matter who the competition was. And so, yeah, we want to put these guys in some positions where how do they respond to playing against a really high-level caliber NFL player? And Michael didn't win that particular round.
But he got up. But he got up.
And what he did do is he made some progress the next day.
Yeah, important.
Just in terms of his technique and how he needs to approach as a blocker. But he's been, he's been everything that we thought he would be when we drafted him in terms of the character of the kid and as a player. So he's making good progress. We're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I'm excited about this secondary. Marcus Peters, obviously, I looked at his numbers. I mean, number one in all the important categories.
Yes.
Interceptions, touchdowns, passes broken up. I mean, he's just an incredible player. What do you see that running back or that cornerback room now that he's in there with that mental approach that he's going to bring, the experience? Yeah,
it was something that we looked for throughout the offseason, and it never came together because, there's a lot of things that go into finding. We were looking for a player that could come in, that could touch the football, but also would bring some leadership to that room and bring some accountability to that room, and could be a guy when things aren't going well in practice to say, wait a minute here, like this isn't the standard, fellas.
Yeah.
And let's refocus and let's make some progress. And Marcus has done that already. He's been an incredible teacher, a leader amongst that group. Got his hands on a football yesterday and had an interception, really understands the game and how to play the game. And he's risen the level in that room of what the expectations are going to be. So that's been exciting to see. And like you said, the more he can make plays on the ball, the better for us.
Well, a lot of talk about joint practices. I know as a player, I enjoyed those opportunities because you had a chance to try out different things on a guy who doesn't see you every day.
That's right.
From a player standpoint, that's incredible opportunities, kind of sharpen your tools. But from a GM standpoint, how do you see joint practices and the communication between certain position groups and you and the head coach? How does it all work?
One, I love them. I think they're a phenomenal opportunity for us to see different matchups, because what ends up happening in the course of training camp is, you get familiar with the people that you're going against.
Same guy.
The same guy. And a lot of times it's the same play, it's the same specific player every day. You're the third in line on the cornerback side, he's the third in line on the receiver side. So it gives us a really good opportunity to start to diversify the competition and see our guys go against players that are taught differently, and it's just a different matchup. And so I feel like it's a really, from an evaluation standpoint, that's really important. I think it's really important with the team that you're having the joint practices with, the relationship that you have with the head coach, the relationship that you have with the GM, to make sure you're putting in an environment that's going to be productive. Because you can get into these environments, and I've seen it, where it's not a productive environment. It's fighting and all this other stuff, and you don't get the work that you want to get. But with Kyle and John, who Josh and I both have great relationships with, we're excited about that opportunity. But and then we'll do the same thing for a couple days with the Rams before we go play them. And so yes, it's a lot of our players aren't going to get that same work in the preseason.
Yeah, they're almost more valuable. Are the joint practices more valuable at this point in the NFL?
They really are. Yeah. There's a lot of good opportunities for good work, and we're going to continue to do that year in, year out.
Dave, we're excited to see what happens in 2023. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Man. Thank you.
So much more to come. Go Raiders. So much more to come here on the Raiders Training Camp Special. Raiders Training Camp Special is brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. SiriusXM. Subscribe to SiriusXM and hear every Raiders game, plus 24/7 NFL news, talk, and expert analysis on SiriusXM NFL Radio. Start listening at SiriusXM.com/Raiders23. Welcome back, everybody. One of the reasons that the Raiders offense was so productive last year, they had a guy that had over 1,600 rushing yards, Josh Jacobs, was the offensive line. Now, this time last year was a rocky start. Didn't know who was going to be on that offensive line, and they went through, 14 different combinations.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this offseason, Eric, they didn't add anybody. Dave Ziegler didn't add anybody in free agency or the draft on offensive line, so must feel really good about the 5 that they're going in with.
Yeah, led by Colton Miller and Andre James. Obviously, those two guys are the anchors of this football team. And as far as the offense is concerned, And they'll get it done. I'm not. I think they're the two guys you can kind of build around. And when you're building around guys, you need young guys to build. And they got the perfect last year, our 3rd-round draft choice, and Dylan Parham. He has really stepped up, done an incredible job. Early on, you're going to have those rookie difficulties, but I thought he really settled in. As the middle to late part of the season. It's one of those reasons why we had such great success at running the football, particularly on that left side in the middle of the football field. He did a really good job of getting to the second level at times, showing his athleticism, and really a road grader at times. And he's only going to get better, right?
Yeah.
This is his first year. This year he's going to get better. He's going to get stronger, bigger, understand how long the season is, what he needs to do with his body to be able to put himself in good positions to win those battles. And we're going to really have to count on that left side to be able to, particularly if Josh is not there.
Yeah, exactly.
First and second down, we got to win first and second down. We got to get those 4 or 5 yards in the running game. That sets everything else up for our football team if we can be successful. And there you see the numbers right now.
I mean, that's not bad for a rookie
Not
year.
bad.
2nd in PFF rankings as far as highest graded guard and impact run block. So that shows you why Josh Jacobs was able to have a lot of that success. Not bad. 3rd-round pick, Dave Ziegler's very first pick out of Memphis. So for a detailed look at the offensive line competition, don't forget to check out Levi Edwards' position breakdown series where he previews every position. Yeah, they look mean, group for the silver and black, and evaluates the players who will potentially make up the Raiders' 53-man roster. Below is the QR code that you can scan and get access to all 8 articles so you can be fully prepared for all the training camp position battles. All right, well, that'll do it for us here on the Raiders training camp special.
I wonder if they tell them to look like that on those pictures.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a mean mug picture for me. Hey, keep it right here. Next week we'll be back. We're gonna get you ready for the joint practices. For now, Amber Theoharis, Eric Allen. We'll see you next time.